Hello and welcome to another video of the Smart Designer suite from CADS. Today we're focusing on Steele Simple Connection Designer. Smart Designer suite is basically a series of very simple programs. The interface is very straightforward, very intuitive. They're sold as independent programs which can integrate together. So in other words, you could buy our analysis and our Steele design or a concrete beam designer separately or link them together to form a total solution. They're also cloud-based, so with people working at home and in the office, we've offered greater flexibility. So if you've got the internet connection in your office or at home, you can use the program wherever you wish, provided you have available licenses. They all design in the majority to 5950 and EC3. The program today, the Steele Simple Connection program, is on a Eurocode. They can be used standalone or, as I said, or linked to CADS 8 3D Max analysis. So if you want to do the geometry, the loading, and calculate the internal forces in a frame, then you can link the programs to it. It's a permanent license we sell, but we do have rental agreements if you require. So there are three programs in the Smart Designer suite for Steele. There's Steele Member Designer for beams, columns, and bracing members, then the Moment Connection program, and then today the Simple Connection Designer. So the other two programs there are actually on the YouTube as well. Just a brief summary of some of the features of the Simple Connection Design. It's based on the EC3, Design of Steel Structures, and the SCI 358 report, Joints and Steel Construction. The four types of connection we can do: beam to beam, beam to column, column splice, and column base plates. And there's even an option to produce DXF drawings. So let's have a look at the program. So just a brief explanation. This is CADS Hub. It's a series of different programs that can be purchased independently. So each one of these is a separate program license. And in there you'll see the Simple Connection Designer, but we also got beams, timbers, connections, beam member design, punching shear and bearing slabs and so on. Each one can be bought separately, as I say. If you buy one, the others will appear in this interface, but under a sort of trial basis, so you can have a look at it. So Simple Connections, we just click on the application we want to look at. And here are the four types that I mentioned in the introduction: column to column splice, beam to column, beam to beam, and column base plate. So you run any one of these separately. So we just hit start. As you can see there in the text, this is to the Eurocode. And share in the hub a very similar interface, which makes the program very easy to learn once you've got one. You can see the sort of 3D graphics, very competent indeed. So we've got here the beams, the column splice. So if I were to change a section, we go up here, the graded steel, obviously, and then we can also put a division plate. See, it's actually butted up against each other there. But if there's a plate in between, we can put in the size, and you can see the graphics alter to suit. Very interactive. Down here we've got the loads. So you've got axial loads, moments, shears, and moments in different directions there, variable and permanent, that you can put in. And then under bolt properties, we've got the bolt diameters, the bolt grade, type of fasteners, steel element type. That's referenced here. If you ever see an I value in the column there, you can click on it and it tells you what we're actually trying to explain. And then you've got whether the column is inside or outside. Then we've got flange plate properties, external, internal. You can see the graphic showing me what that does. So you may need, for architectural reasons, you may need to put the flanges in, the flange plates inside. Then you've got the grade of steel and so on. The rest of it's pretty self-explanatory. You've got the bolt centers, the bolt distance here, number of bolts, so you can change that. Again, you'll see the graphics. So the idea of the program is you put the loads in and then choose the connection style and then run it and see if it works. So if we go to the web plate, similar idea: grade of steel, plate width, plate thickness, and so on. So let's see if this works. We've put some loads in over here, as I said. So we just hit calculate and it passes. So if we want to see this in another view, we can check it here. This sometimes can be a good place to put your geometry in. It shows you what all the values are. It interacts with the user just the same way the 3D view does. And then we go to the calculation report. This is something we find very attractive with users who bought the programs. We've got a summary, a calculations, and a detailed output. So the summary, as you can see here, diagram. Of course, the fonts and everything else can be edited to suit you as a client. We've also got their reference to the code it's using. Then we've got the data for the column sizes, the loads, thickness of the plates, how many bolts we're using, partial factors, and so on. And then here we've got the result summary. So it's a nice, concise tick box. And then some reference to the nomenclature we use in the program there in the appendix. Now, if you want more detail, you can then just switch to detailed explanatory, and then you'll get a lot more formulae that you can reference. If people are checking the output you provided and they want to see more detail, you've got the option there. Okay, so that's one of the programs. Let's have a look at one of the other. Okay, so this time I'm looking at a beam column connection. You can obviously see the graphics here, very self-explanatory, and does make the idea of seeing what you're putting in very easy. You can see over here the types of plate we can do: thin plates, full and partial depth plates. And then you've got flange or web connections. So again, we set this up to put in what connection we think will work, and then the program will tell us how we're getting on. So we've got tie forces and shear force there, the section sizes, grades of steel, connection details including bolt types, and the configuration here for the output. So then we just hit calculate, 2D view, 3D view also, of course, and then the output here. So again, like the previous connection type, very similar. This is a concise summary, but you can then switch to detailed as I did before. As you can see, it's very repetitive in what the interface is like. That makes training very easy to do. Let's have a look at another one. Okay, here we are, the third and the fourth types of connections we do. This is a pad base plate connection. You can see the bolts there and the column size is given. This is the bolt dimension, the base dimensions, and that's simply done here. So we've got the length and so on here. So I can adjust it just to show you what it looks like on the screen. That's the base plate size. You've got the weld size and the thickness. Then we've also got here the foundation type. So again, we're putting in the base size here. As you can see, it's 500 thick there. We can change it if we want to, like so. Very, very simple. And then just hit calculate, 2D view, calculation report, all the details as I showed you earlier. Again, finally, we've got beam to beam. So again, you can see the graphics, the bolt arrangements that have been chosen, the sizes of sections here. And again, we can play with the types of connection as we did just now, and the shear force and the tie force values, and go through the section sizes we've got, the connection details, bolt properties, and the configuration for the output. And again, hit the calculate button, 2D view, very straightforward, connection calculation report. Okay, so those are the 4 different programs within the CADS Hub Simple Steel Connection Design. Okay, just to finish off, there's drawings that can be produced from those connection design. As you can see at the end there, I said DXF. This is a little example of that. They come in multiple different views and details for each connection type. This is a snippet of some of them. And as I say, these are DXF files. You can take them out of the program, paste them onto whatever drawings you've got. Saves a great deal of time. Okay, just to also mention, we're a proud partner with Dubel. They're a producer of finite element software for 3D analysis and design of many different materials: steel, concrete, timber, aluminium, goodness knows what. It therefore covers steel frames, silos, all types of steel arrangement in plate and beams. They also do hot and cold rolled steel design, which is not quite as universal as you would think. And just recently, they've developed a connection design program based on finite elements. So this gives them a great deal of universal appeal, because the connection type is not limited then by the codes. We can do I sections as well as many other different cross-section types, angles, channels. You can see on the right there, this program will even do cold form connection design for purlins, and you can see a very complicated 3D connection there. So if you're interested in that program, it takes a bit more demonstration, but we can show you that as well. So just get in touch. And on that note, to find out more about CADS, you can either call us, you can email us, or you can visit our website for more details. We're delighted to answer any questions if you give us a ring. My team here in the sales are happy to answer any emails as well, and the support team if you need any help. So with further ado, I'll say thank you very much for your interest, and I hope you will be watching one of our videos again soon. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.